Be true, yes, sir. Do you have a daughter? No, I do not. In the deal, done deal. No birth certificate, no date of birth, no name. But they dragged this woman through there, and that charlatan down there, Harold Horn, said he was too busy. I looked in there and I didn't see that. It was nothing but adults in there, and they locked the doors. What happened to the constitutional guarantee of a public and speedy trial? That sure wasn't public. And that report talked about justice. I walked in the back to look at the file. They got 7 attorneys talking to 14 people, and everybody can hear what everybody is saying. What happened to Attorney Klein? That clown Harold Horn and my current opponent, either cousin-in-law or brother-in-law, depending upon how she tells it. She lies so doggone much you can't tell what's the truth. He's back there talking about let's give Joe Brown a hard time. Meanwhile, he got busted right out here for putting a pistol to somebody's head. His case got held to the action of the grand jury. There ain't nothing happened. They caught him trying, well, let's put it this way. He was hanging around with a married woman. Her husband said, this has got to stop. She said, my husband said, I can't see you anymore. He said, oh no, went and found a man, put a gun to his head. See, that's concealing justice. That's hiding justice. That ain't right. They got another case that was reported on. The pastor, and I'm putting names out there, Walnut Grove Baptist Church here in this county, is on tape sodomizing a dozen kids between 9 and 13 years old. Statements from witnesses. The investigation. And they were told to stop, get off it. And the man is not on a sexual offender list for the state. He ain't in Walnut Grove anymore, but it wasn't the first time he'd done it. The investigator's been on radio named Phyllis Parks. Well, former investigator, she and all the other African-American women that were investigators complained about frequently being called the N and the B words. They complained about it and were told to shut up and take it, quit, or be fired. It's not a little lightweight accusation. They went to Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Federal government found cause. Issued them a right to sue letter. See, that's what's going on down there. And 72% of this county is African American, and this woman claims she's got 15% of her staff. Sheriff's Department, Police Department, I don't know about the Millington Police Department, every other department in the county has a reasonable reflection of the population that's in that county, but that one. And remember, all that other brouhaha about, if you're going to treat somebody low down, don't be down low because it'll come out on you. I ain't never told you a lie. We have proof, but see, the problem is it ain't just doing that, is when the person involved happens to be a county employee that works for you. EEOC again. Remember, they don't care about that. Oh, don't get quiet on me. Don't act like you get shocked when somebody tells you the truth. See, that's a character thing. If some of you would think back during 2012 when that clown down there was running for election for the last 2 years of the term. You remember her opponent, Carol Chumney? Yeah. Had it all out there from the Wyrick campaign that Chumney was a lesbian. Yeah. So what the devil is she complaining about? Oh, she's been a housewife with her little children. She has to explain all these rumors to. Now, ladies, how many of you are married? Hold your hands up if you are. You ever take your wedding ring off? Take a look at our first commercial. Ain't no wedding ring. The next one, there's a wedding ring. She's lying. That's why she won't debate me. She runs for me. time we caught up is when Sheriff Cobb was out there and I was out there the other night, and they had 99 people with yellow t-shirts on representing his opponent and 44 ordinary people in the house, and they were rude, crude, and disrespectful. That's the only time I've shown up. I said she's got to say something, I got to say something. All these other folk in there, they let her get rebutted. She made a crack I'm going to come back to in a second. I think of Invictus. You know, I don't care what you do. I'm not one of those nonviolent types that were so prevalent in the civil rights era. I was around, but on the West Coast, we having a fight. I'm not letting anybody get me on my knees and beat me across the head until they feel guilty by doing it. I'm taking somebody out, and I don't care if I You know, this woman, if the news media were truthful and weren't owned by people in her party, would make campaigning very easy because her incumbency has been such a disgrace, an embarrassment, and such an example of general incompetence. While she's been in there, what are we looking at? 12,000 untested rape kits that we now find have zoomed up to almost 26,000 since this heroic young lady, Megan Ebos, who was raped, came forth and blew the whistle. Otherwise, you never known about it. You have the lowest conviction rate in the last 52 years, which is as far back as I can check. The courts are clogged. Jurors are looking at the system with a jaundiced eye now after their embarrassing moments participating in trials that never should have been. She can't move cases, and interestingly enough, the overwhelming proportion of the people prosecuted, as contrasted to the ones that are prosecuting them, look just like the people in this room. I don't know about you. I was born before the middle of the last century. And this is the second decade of the following century, and I'm getting sick and tired of this. It ain't right. Oh my. I even wrote down some notes. There are some specific examples of her deceit, lies, and misconduct and the perfidy that I'm going to bring to your attention. Not only the 12,000 untested rape kits that, by the way, take just 3.5 hours to run from start to finish to getting a result, 2 hours of which are thawing the sample out. Basically, it's a one-sided paternity kit that Jerry Springer can get done in half an afternoon. Basically, the money has been appropriated over the last decade to test these kits from both the county and the state. Where did it go? TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, was here a little more than 2 years ago. They said, we have $4.2 million. We'll test the kits. We have a floating lab, rolling lab. They got sent back in writing another lie. We only have 100 untested kits. They said, we're also here to test all of this untested ballistics evidence, which is in a worse state than the rape kits. We don't need it. Where'd the money go that they brought the $4.2 million in? Now look what's happening down in the city of Memphis. How did Memphis get to be responsible for the rape kits that came out of Millington, Cordova, Bartlett, Arlington, Germantown? And they hired Ronnie Coleman, who hadn't been involved in this in years. She is a Republican. And what did they hire her to do? To maintain custody, chain of custody. As an experienced trial attorney, prosecutor, the public defender for the city, criminal court judge elected twice, thank you very much. I can't see she can do anything except taint the chain of custody. Now they want to pay somebody from out of state between $6.8 and $7.2 million to test these kits for a time that'll take between 4.5 to 6 years. That is so abominably ridiculous that I want to vomit. What happened to protecting you women in this county? I mean, this is supposed to be the first woman who's ever been a DA, and you think she'd look for women's rights. What happened? She's whining about, I got to tell my little children about these rumors. How do I explain it? How do you explain being raped to your children if you're a victim? How do you explain being raped to your husband or boyfriend? How does a child explain it to himself or herself if he or she's been raped? How do you explain this to your family? How do you explain it to the public? How do grown folk explain to children of the next generation what happened to the system and how they got let down? I don't give a damn about her explaining to her little children when there are 1.5 million people who need an explanation. Brother Cobb's opponent won't debate him. Madam Brooks' opponent won't debate her. And Judge Sugarman's opponent won't debate him. They're trying to do something and let divide and conquer do what it's doing because there's a media blackout on Democratic candidates with the exception of negativity. They wanted to get Madam Brooks off of the commission because there's a misdemeanor that's pending against her. She's innocent until proven guilty. Harold Collins got indicted and charged for ripping off $3.5 million from Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church, and that woman downtown got him as her driver. He's driving Miss Daisy. Sheriff Cobb and myself were trying to put on a law and order for him, and his flunky houseboy blocked it so we couldn't use public facilities. We even invited our opposition to participate and enlighten the public. They were too scared because they can't handle the truth. They're cowards, they're punks, they're scared, and they're liars. I challenge them. Now, the next thing I have in my hot hands, it's a 2-page document. This was prepared by the very much disturbed defense lawyers and some prosecutors acting in a committee in this county. State versus Salmon. Then Assistant District Attorney Wyrick's calling a co-defendant as a witness knowing he had asserted his Fifth Amendment rights and her statements that were false to the jury, etc., raised severe prejudicial issues for the defendant, was anti the Sixth Amendment and the concerns for the violation of the defendant's rights, the improper argument before the jury, the prosecutorial misconduct, I'm reading parts of it, caused the conviction to be reversed. State versus Coleman. Assistant District Attorney Wyrick conceals an oral statement made by